Welcome everybody, Robin here with AriesFireTarot. So I'm doing your daily tarot card reading. This is going to be for Friday, June 25th. And the deck I'm using is the Gilded Tarot. However, this is Magical Unicorn Theme Week. So I will be anchoring your reading with a Magical Unicorn Oracle card and then going from there. So hope you guys are all doing great. Love to have you here. Thank you so much for showing up on the channel. And I know a lot of you come here every morning, so my mind is blown by that. So I really appreciate that, you guys, and just all of you. So I'm just going to shuffle the Gilded Tarot a couple of times. I feel like the lighting is a little bit off, and that's my fault because I turned on the wrong light before I sat down, and then I just didn't want to get back up again, and I'm sure plenty of you can relate to that. So let's see what's up for Friday, June 25th, and I'm going to put the deck to the side, and let's pull that Magical Oracle card. Magical Unicorn. Okay. Oh. Okay, all right, if we have to. All right, so this is what the card says. It says to forgive. And there's a very supplicant, very, what is the word that I'm looking for? Like, acquiescent. There's another one. Throw me a bone, you guys. Submissive. Okay, so sometimes submission is okay. It depends on what game you're playing. Okay, so this says, it's time to let go of anger or blame. And let's just talk about that for a second. Forgiving somebody does not mean that you have to allow them past the boundaries that you've set. It does not mean that you have to speak to them ever again. Forgiveness is to release the toxicity in yourself, okay? So that you're not carrying it around for the rest of your life and feeling like a pile of garbage, all right? So I find this is a very interesting card to come across. I just talking to people in regular life is everybody hates somebody, and it's usually somebody in their family, and I've got the same thing going on because that's a whole story. But anyway, let's start pulling Gilded Tarot cards. Okay. So here's the advice you're being given. What else went on? Really turn around and look at everything. Sometimes you're just meant to separate paths. Sometimes the karma is something that you cannot escape. Dolores Cannon has some really interesting theories about soul contracts and soul families and role playing on Earth. So you might want to check that out a little bit. It can kind of ease you into forgiving somebody, when you see things from a different perspective. And hers is really fascinating. So you might want to check that out. But definitely, what role did somebody play in your life? How helpful were they with the Nine of Wands? Could you have made it through a certain point in your life without them? If it's your parents, would you be here without them? And I know there's a lot of people with childhood trauma. Again, it could be all part of your soul contract. And you don't have to talk to anybody that you don't want to ever again. But what role did they play in your life? Some people just come in to help you out or teach you a lesson, and then they're gone. And then sometimes you're stuck with this great big, balloon in your gut that is just ever present. You can't bend over all the way because this is killing me. The balloon of acid, we want to say. I'm just going to go on a pause here, guys. So I'm chugging my cup of tea on a break there. And I get this message from one of my guides. So sometimes it's good for me to take a little break. So I'm not talking and I get deeper messages. This could be a job for Ho'oponopono man. If you never heard of that, it's, oh man, what a nightmare to spell. H' Oponopono or something like that. Somebody interested enough to type it out in the comments, that'd be great. I first heard of that when I was meditating to Jason Stevenson. How does it go? Oh, I dropped a card. I cannot possibly pick it up with my toes. Hold on. And yes, I did give it careful consideration when I was looking at it. I'm like, can I get that with my toes? Not without wrecking it. So, something very interesting. The Ace of Wands comes out. Remember I was saying when I went on a pause and I was quiet and I got more messages? That's another thing about forgiveness, because if you're busy hating somebody, think of that feeling of hate. Just that, or whatever. You know, you got to forgive people for a reason. It's usually something to do with not feeling so fantastic. So hate's a big one, you know, or irreparable sadness, something like that, and how much room it takes up in your body. Okay. Where would you be without that person's influence in your life? So I really see that as being the first step. Where would you be? Would you have your kids? Would you have your life? Would you have whatever? Okay. So try and write that down, you guys. My grandmother, she gave me this technique. Like when you're upset with somebody, and I guess she had a whole box full of letters. She would write out like, dear so-and-so, this is what is like absolutely pissing me off about you. This is what I wish, blah, blah, blah. Like page upon page. She was pretty chatty. I miss her. And then as time went by, she would cross it off. And she wasn't necessarily the type of person to go and have a conversation with anybody. But once you're able to cross things off or pop the balloons in your gut, you have more room for ideas to come in. Just like when I went on that pause to like not daintily sip my tea. Oh, tell them about Ho'oponopono. Oh, okay. And I don't know if I would have gotten that because I was so busy. You know me. So there is something new for you guys to attain, but there is just, this has to be taken care of. And the most important thing to remember, you guys, is that the forgiveness is for you. Okay? You could say it, you could write it down. The forgiveness is for you so that you can live yourself a happier, healthier life, free of somebody. It's like you're giving them control over your life, even if they're not in it, you know. And for a lot of you, the person that you need to forgive is yourself. But what's really helpful to remember is that things had to happen this way, you know. They just had to happen this way. I'm not even sure who said it. You have to release yourself from the bondage of thinking that it could have been any other way. This is your karma. And this is everything that is going to build your future. I talk about this from time to time, you guys. I didn't really have the greatest childhood, or, you know, I just, like, my life was a series of unfortunate incidents and toxicity and stuff like that. But if all of that had not happened, I wouldn't have had all that experience to draw on with the Emperor to look forward and say, okay, well, I'm never doing that again. Or I know how to handle that better. Or I can see right through people because I've seen enough like snakes, or just, you know, people where I see their red flags right away. And now I'm smart enough to understand that it's time to stop moving forward, where I don't just go, okay, well, it's going to be okay, and brush it off. I know that these signs are being given to me by the universe with the Ace of Wands. So there is something very, you know, it's like a toxic warm blanket. On one hand, it really cuts you open, but on the other hand, it keeps you warm at night. It makes you understand yourself and other people a little bit more deeply. And once you start to forgive people, even if you think that they're not worthy of your forgiveness, is your body worthy of forgiving somebody else? Is your brain worthy of forgiving somebody else or yourself. Like everything about you, you know, mind, body, heart, soul, energy is all of you worthy of forgiving somebody else to free you from the shackles of whatever is holding you in that prison. And maybe look at Ho'oponopono, guys. There's meditations and stuff like that. You can write it out. I think it's a really great idea, just so that you can move forward with your life, because there's bigger and better things coming to than what happened in the past, okay? All right, I'm gonna bounce. All right, guys, take care.